I'm Beth Whitworth, race car driving, quilt making, CPA firm owning, wife, mom, and boss. I'm here to help you build a business you love by sharing all of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the excellent sides of working in this industry. It's not always easy, but after many years, I can finally say it's worth it. Let me guide you on your journey to accounting with confidence. Hello, and welcome to the Accounting with Confidence podcast. I am Beth Whitworth, and today I just wanted to hop in here and do kind of a quick life update. Now, my goals for this show were to originally send out an episode every single week, and all the experts tell you, in order to do that, you really need to batch your content, have a day where you're just recording episodes so that you can get them all in line and ready to publish. And really, that is a great idea, and I think I can get there, but I did launch this right before the holidays. So I got the launch out and I managed to get some episodes up and I got it ready, but I did not get that day reserved for batching content. And during the holidays, it was great. I saw a lot of family. My daughter was in town. I took kind of a good break from work. However, it was also a very busy time. The last week of the year between Christmas and New Year's for our firm, it is busy. There's a lot of last minute planning for clients. There are, updates on, do we need to do a bonus? Just all kinds of extra things. And so I always know that week ends up being a little more busy. So I thought, okay, after, over New Year's weekend, I should be able to get some episodes recorded and just kind of get into the flow. Well, I didn't over the holiday weekend, and the first week of the year was really busier than I was expecting. We got into January with quite a busy load of work, So the other thing that was holding me back is I had on my calendar and have since June, it was really more of a 7-month follow-up from my surgery that I had for breast cancer back in July. And I realized now that I've already had that appointment that I was really very nervous about it. And it was affecting my desire to really want to record episodes, to really just move forward into the new year, because this was the first time I was having a mammogram since I had had surgery. So this was the follow-up to find out, is there anything else that they were concerned about? Or did they find any other suspicious areas? And for me, I've been having mammograms since I was 26 years old. So once I got past those first few years in my late 20s, early 30s, I thought, it's just a part of my life. And so last year, when it finally came into something that actually was a problem and I was diagnosed with cancer, it shook me, obviously. So this was the first time I was having a mammogram since the diagnosis. And I was super nervous. And it affected how I showed up, and it was affecting whether or not I felt like recording episodes. But what happened, which I think is kind of everything happens for a reason. The Monday before my appointment, I had a discovery call with someone who had jumped on my calendar, who had been referred by a firm of guys that I used to work with, and they refer me a lot of business. And this person was actually a financial planner, and he wanted to just find a CPA firm to refer work to. And I talked to him that morning, and we knew the same people from my old firm back in the day. And he knew these guys that I used to work with. And we talked about, what types of clients we could refer to each other. And somewhere in the conversation, he happens to mention that he was a cancer survivor. And I was like, really? Because he was telling his story, and he had been in the business for a long time, and he's my age. And he had said that he had, I believe it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, that he was diagnosed with, and he had chemo. And then 8 months later, he had a recurrence. And then he had, I believe, several years. And then he had another recurrence. And he had chemo again. And he had a stem cell transplant. And he had all of these things. And he was pretty far out, I mean, years since his last round with it. And it just sat with me like, wow, this guy is still building his business. He actually, made a huge change from what company he was working with, after all of this had happened. And he had recurrences, and he had gone in for his tests and his scans and gotten the news that, yes, it was back. And I thought, well, wow, he was there to tell me, I believe he was put on that phone call to tell me to stop worrying. And he did not use those words, but because he did not know my story. And I told him, I said, well, you know what? My follow-up is tomorrow. And he said, no matter what happens, you've got this. And after that phone call, I felt so much better. I felt relieved because he was right that my situation and my cancer was caught very, very early. And all of the treatments that they had said I needed to have, I did. And I felt very good about my treatment plan and that they did everything they needed to do. So it would be unlikely that I would have had issues, but you still worry. Yeah, and I'm guessing I will continue to worry for a long time. And so I did go to my appointment, and that very next day, and once you've been treated for cancer, they actually read the results of your mammogram immediately and give you the results and let you talk to the surgeon and all of those things, and everything was clear. So I received the letter afterwards that says, it was benign, essentially. There was no additional testing that they needed, and they don't need to see me for a year. And that was a huge relief as well. But that call with Mo, his name was Maurice, and he goes by Mo, that actually set the tone for my attitude going into that appointment the next day, because he absolutely, he was energetic and optimistic and so excited about his firm and his clients. And I realized that I am that, but I do let my worries tend to get in the way. If anybody knows anything about the Enneagram, I believe I am an Enneagram 6. And there tends to be a lot of worry in that particular Enneagram type. So any of you 6s out there, shout out to you. So while I was worrying about all of this, was when everybody, you've got all the Facebook groups and Instagram and what's your word for the year? That is a very big thing of everybody kind of rallies behind a word that they want to embrace for the year. And I wasn't down for that. I really wasn't doing that this year. But then, sometime in that first or second week, I thought, well, you know what? My word this year is strong, because from the outside, I hear a lot from people that I'm a very strong person. Their perception of me is that I'm strong. And so I felt that this year I really needed to spend some time leaning into that and being the strong person. And that includes, both physically and mentally and emotionally. But that's my word for the year. So if anybody else has been working through the word of the year and you are looking for one to latch onto, I think strong is a very good one. And the rest of what has been happening, obviously, is, it is now tax season. So I have always said over and over again, and I have to my team, to anybody who listens, is that for a tax preparer, I feel that January is actually worse than April. Everybody always says, oh my gosh, April, you're so busy, you're so busy. No, January is actually worse. We have some deadlines 1099 deadlines, W-2 deadlines, quarterly payroll taxes, tax planning. The fourth quarter estimate for the year is due. Everybody wants kind of a year-end update. What kind of taxes are we going to owe? There's a lot going on in January, including software updates, getting your tax software loaded, rolling forward all kinds of our data management. So our SharePoint files, and making sure we have the new folders for 2023 created. There's just a lot going on, and it gets a little bit crazy. And here we are. When I'm recording this, we're halfway through January already. And I feel like my to-do list is angry. I don't know if anybody else ever puts emotions onto their to-do list, but right now I feel like my to-do list is a little angry. That it feels like there's so many things that need to get done. It becomes very difficult to prioritize. And this is when I know, for me personally, I need to kind of double down on my weekly planning and my weekly prioritizing so that I am getting things accomplished that actually need to happen. And I'm constantly reminding myself that, there are no emergencies in the accounting profession. There are deadlines, and you have to manage the deadlines, which means you can't get super behind. You have to really have a system where you know what's coming, what's due, have a plan for how you're going to get that done and make progress towards the deadline day by day, week by week. So my goal for this week as I go into it is to try to change the emotion that my to-do list has. I want it to be a little bit more optimistic. I want it to be less angry with me and more productive. It's a struggle because there is a lot coming at you during busy season, but there's also January just feels over the top with things coming in via email and the portal and phone calls and new client calls. And as much as I have, really put processes in place and started standardizing some things, there's still a lot to do. And there's still some pieces of my firm that I haven't quite, delegated, that I haven't standardized well enough to be able to delegate to a member of my team. So it's been good and bad so far this year. I think now that I have gotten past my follow-up with my surgeon and past that and feeling more optimistic, I think I can probably get more of a handle on what needs to happen and knock some things out. Now, if anybody else is a procrastinator, I welcome you, because I am the queen of procrastination. And I find that so many times I'm procrastinating something, maybe because I'm not comfortable with it, maybe because it's something that I don't love to do, and maybe because I'm not sure how long it's going to take me. And 9 times out of 10, when I finally buckle down and eat the frog and actually start the project that I've been procrastinating, it takes me no time. So if I would have started with that project and I would not be, stressing over it, and maybe it would fallen off my to-do list and maybe make my to-do list a little happier. So my advice on this is, figure out your priorities and don't procrastinate things just because you don't like them, think they're too hard, or think they're going to take too long. Easier said than done. Easier said than done for sure. And while I've been working through this beginning of the year stress and overwhelm and sort of recouping from the holidays after having some time off and eating too many sweets and not getting to the gym enough, I was able to do some informal goals for the year for both my firm and myself, and really for the show, for this podcast. And my biggest goal for this year for the firm is to continue to add value to my clients and to my team. Now, this is something that I realized this year as I had to take some time off and I had to delegate a big portion of any of the day-to-day things that I had been doing on a client level, that I finally am to a point where when I am working with my clients, I'm working at a level where I feel that is most suited to me. I'm not preparing their payroll taxes. I am not reconciling their bank accounts. I am meeting with them on a monthly or quarterly basis, a regular basis, and we are talking about their company and their concerns and their questions and ways to improve their team or their business, maybe, even strategizing on things to help them make more sales or be more profitable or help, get their margins into a better place. And that type of service for me feels that it is giving much more value to my clients. And I like that. That is my goal, is to continue to be at that a little bit higher level with them so that they can learn from my years of experience, the fact that I own my own business, so I can bring things directly to them that I have worked through. And I just want to bring that value and add more, and maybe that is going to translate into me recording some classes or having some Zoom sessions with my clients. It is definitely going to be that I am going to continue to push my team to train and learn and, not sit still and just do things the same way because we've always done it that way. I want some innovation. I want some efficiencies. I want them to be adding as much value in what they do for the client on whatever level they are on, to be as valued by the client as what I am doing. And to do that, they need to be experts. And I think I have a great team in place. And I think this is the year that we will, break out into really having an entire team of experts. And hopefully, we all feel that adding the value to the client is the most important. But in addition to that, I do have revenue goals for the firm. I do want to grow, and they're kind of lofty, so I would love to grow the firm by 50 to 100% in revenues. And that means I've got to do some work. I've got to do some work inside the firm in just structuring how we do things, in how we get new clients, and what types of clients we're looking for, which all goes back to that marketing class I took last quarter that I still have the final homework to do, which is the marketing plan. And I keep putting it on my to-do list, on that angry to-do list, and I haven't done it yet. So I know that is going to be key. And I'm just saying it out loud right here so you guys can hold me accountable, that I'm going to get the draft of that marketing plan done this month. And right now, okay, we're in January of 2023. I'm going to get the marketing plan done this month. My firm, in all of my years, in all of these years that I've been self-employed, I've never had a marketing plan, ever. And marketing plans are all encompassing. It's not just how are you going to advertise? It's, how are you getting your message out? How are you onboarding? How are you attracting people to the company? What type of referral networks do you have? There's so many pieces to it. And the class I went through really was important in giving me the structure. And that's what I love. Okay, so go back to this template and finish it. And that's my goal for January. So, and then to implement and follow that plan all year long is what is going to help me reach that revenue goal. So having a goal is great, but if you do not have a plan, it falls into hope, and hope is not a strategy for pretty much anything. So those are my goals for the year for the firm. Let's add some more value to my clients and my team, grow revenues and create and implement that marketing plan. So I am super excited to be working inside of those things this year with my firm and my team. Right now, I am absolutely optimistic that I can do that. Now, I know that everything is not always sunshine and rainbows. I tend to be a glass half empty kind of person as opposed to a glass half full. So I recognize there are going to be roadblocks or times when I feel more overwhelmed and am not reaching and keeping these goals in focus, that things will sidetrack me or I may just not be feeling it. And I need to give myself grace for those times. Not everybody goes through life, happy and productive and motivated all the time. You have to realize that we aren't really designed that way. You have emotions and you have feelings and you have what you ate one day can upset your stomach the next day, and then you don't feel motivated to do what you were going to do. Things happen. All kinds of things happen in our lives that we feel could derail us. And maybe they do. Maybe they do for an hour, a day, a week, even a month. But if you have the goals in place to kind of redirect you back, I think it gives you something to refocus on. And I know I talked about it in I believe it was episode 4, possibly, that it was the things that you do on a daily basis, setting your big 3 priorities, those types of things. Even in times when you don't feel it, you still set those priorities. So that way it gives you something to look at, actually physically look at the list and say, what is important and what should I be working on? Now, sometimes on those daily big 3s, you put something down like, I need to take care of me. I need a nap, or one of my priorities is to make sure if the sun is out, I am walking, or to, whatever those things that help take care of you, you can put those on as a priority. And I know that in times when I feel less motivated, adding in those personal items that kind of help me get out of the funk and making it a priority and then marking it off when I've done it will help pull me out of that process. So that is my update, kind of what I've been going through. And I do think this podcast is something that is going to be helpful for me as much as I want it to be helpful for you. My goal is to have a weekly episode. And obviously, I haven't been doing that quite yet, but I will. I know that is a goal that I can work towards and get a system in place and be able to get weekly content out. Now, you'd be surprised that it's not hard for me to come up with topics. In fact, I believe I have listed a topic a week going into May. So I have all the topics. It's just a matter of sometimes feeling like I'm in a position to share right now, and so I think I'm in a better place than I was. And so I hope that we will be seeing regular weekly episodes. And my goal is to get into that batching process and get things to my editor so that he's got a chance to get everything ready for me to publish. And I can, just kind of step back and put it a little bit on auto so that it automatically is going out for you every week. And the other goals I have for the show is to get to a point where I am able to take questions and get some, questions from listeners. I would love to do this in a live setting, but I'm not there yet. In the meantime, if anybody ever has a question, you can, DM me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and any of the places that you are seeing this, you can get a hold of me. And if you have a question about your firm, about leadership, about time management, about a tax question, I'm willing to answer whatever you want, because this is something that I feel passionate in being able to share. Whatever information I can share with you, I will. The other thing that I want to get to with my podcast is to start interviewing guests. And I'm, hopeful that I can arrange some guests that are very helpful to you, that bring some good insight and value to you. And the other piece is I want to be interviewing other firm owners. You own a bookkeeping or an accounting firm. Maybe you would like to have a session with me that we could record, and we can talk through your successes or things you're struggling with, or even just your story. How did you get started? Why did you do it? I believe that there is some value there for other firms to really highlight where everybody comes from, what everybody struggles with. It's very easy to sometimes feel when you go into business that you should know how to do all the things all the time because you own a business. And especially if you have a team, your team expects you to be the one steering the ship and having the answers. And so it's nice to have some place to be able to put into words and to express how sometimes there are struggles and we need help and we need to bounce something off of someone, and maybe someone has a better idea. And so I would love to get other firm owners on board for letting me interview you. Let me hear your story. Let me share your struggles and how you recovered from things, so that everybody sees that there's more than one way of doing things. And that is very important to me. My firm is not perfect, but it is something that I enjoy, but I had to work towards it to get there. And it hasn't always been, like I said, sunshine and rainbows. There are days regularly that you really feel like, whew, wow, that was a tough one. But right now, the majority of my days are happy. I like doing the work that I am doing with my firm. It wasn't always that way. So I want to help other people. If you're struggling or you've done something with your firm that is that you think others should know about, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. So you can reach out to me through the website at accountingwithconfidence.com. And I'm going to put show notes on the website at accountingwithconfidence.com/blog. And I will have links there that you can contact me if you are interested in being a guest on the show, or if you have a recommendation of someone you think would be a great person to interview for the show that you would love to hear. I want to hear about it. Or if you have questions, if you have something you want to answer, there will be a link to submit a question, and I will be able to put together a question and answer show in the future. And I really look forward to doing that. I love that type of show when I listen to other podcasts. So like I said, accountingwithconfidence.com/blog. There'll be links there for the show notes to submit questions and reach out to me. And I think that going forward, we will have all kinds of things that we'll be working together on, and I look forward to it. That is all I have for today. I hope everybody has a great week. And if you need me, you know where to find me. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening. I always end my weekly team meetings with "Have a great week. If you need me, you know where to find me." And I realized I said that. And with this whole podcasting thing, it's new, and you may not know where to find me. Go to accountingwithconfidence.com, and while you're there, sign up for 6 easy ways to reclaim time in your accounting firm. And that will keep us connected. Have a great week.